So it's June 28th. I had a dream, but I didn't feel like it was important. I'm not gonna talk about it. I figured if it's important, it'll pop up. What I've been sitting with is this. I've been working on the course that I'm trying to put together. I'm definitely more excited about it, but then the more that I was working on it, I was just like, not that it's a self-doubt, but it's more of this questioning of like, okay, Yubi, what qualifies you? Right? I think it's because I got to the part of how I structured it, and there was almost this element of like, what qualifies you, right? What qualifies you to speak on this topic? And so I've been sitting with that awareness, that question, and realizing, right? And I'm like, I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm not. Because I think when I was getting to that first part, because I'm doing more of like this brief introduction to non-traditional tools and how to implement them in therapy and or for your own personal healing practice. So there's this element of like, I'm not going to put myself out there as an expert, but more so of like, I know enough, right? I have like enough of all of these, enough knowledge, right? From each of these tools and practice in implementing them in my life and reading about them and listening about them and taking some courses about them, but not enough to consider myself an expert in chakras or an expert in birth chart. Like, I'm not. It's not it for me. It's more of this like, I know enough. I have a general understanding of it, and it's because I'm not too rigid with like, this is the one technique that works for everybody, right? No, it's this awareness that it's just a little bit of here, a little bit of here, a little bit of here for each person, depending on where they are. So for some people, it's going to be, I'm going to focus more on the chakras, right? For some people, it's going to be, no, I'm going to focus more on the birth chart. For some people, it's all about tarot. For some people, it's all about, reframing your thoughts, right? It's more about, the daily affirmations, right? Or it's more about, it's so much, shit happened when I was little. Like, I really need to unpack that first, right? So it's this element of understanding that there isn't one way, that there's many ways because there's many of us. And I think it goes back to that concept, right, of like what my friend said to me being the way, and I'm like, well, I'm the way for me. I'm the way for me. That I know. For somebody else, it's gonna be different. So then we are all the way for oneself, right? Because for us to function as a society, as a community, we need to be authentic to ourselves first, right? Versus trying to please other people or meet other people's standards or other people's expectations, or feel responsible for other people's well-being solely in an unbalanced way, right? I keep thinking of the law of one, or the agreement of one. If one's needs are met, then there's a sense of responsibility to ensure that, to do my part, whatever that part looks like, right? It's not to somebody's standards, it's whatever that part looks like for oneself, according to their purpose, then that's how they contribute to society, right? So anyway, so I was thinking about that, just, what makes me a shock? An expert, 'cause I'm reading all these articles, trying to, because, you put a presentation together, you have to put, like, resources and stuff. So I'm just like, what resources am I going to use, right? I'm clearly not an expert, but I know enough. I know enough to know this has been helpful, this has been helpful, this has been helpful. So anyways, that's been sticking. So then I changed the title of my course to A Beginner's Guide. Instead of saying, like, this is how you use it. No, it's like, it's just to give you a whiff. Because that's all I can provide, right? That's been my experience, is a whiff of using these tools where I feel comfortable with it. Yeah. I was reading up on soul psychology a little bit more, the book that I purchased. I think his name is Dr. David Stone. I don't remember his name. It was written in 1994. It was published in 1994. So it makes sense. I was like, okay, some of this stuff is like, it makes sense. But then I'm like, okay, there's this also awareness within me of like, okay, maybe in that time period, that was what needed to be shared to a certain degree. I can see the evolvement from that, right? I'm like, okay, that doesn't make sense anymore, or that that thought process, has been shifting and is needing to shift, right? So again, it goes back to this awareness of being a critical thinker, right? Being discerning with the information that you're giving, that you're taking in, and being able to kind of decipher it for where you're at. But that requires a sense of trust within yourself, right? That makes sense. Yeah. So that's what's been on my mind. That's what's been on my mind. Okay, that's all. I did freak out because, decided to eat that lovely pistachio blackberry scone. Or croissant. It's good. Delicious. Yummy. But then I indulged the rest of the day and had a bag of chickpea chips. And I was just snacking. I was snacking all day yesterday, and I was like, okay, no. Let's get back on the bandwagon, Yubi. Yeah. Alright, that's all. Just focusing on this and excited about this next chapter, and can't believe it's the end of June already, It's going by so fast. And I just love being here. I talked to my mom yesterday, and it's like freaking hot down there. She's like, I was more there. I'm like, it's fantastic over here. It feels great to me. It was a high 70s. Lovely different walk. It's gorgeous. I love it here. So love it here. Okay, that's it. Enough rambling. I got work to do.
Hi, my name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience, and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see what else comes next for me.